started that would have done the thing, but it didn't do the thing. But I fixed it. Good stuff. All right, Melissa. Hi, how's it going? We are here.
It's good.
Last podcast of the year.
It is the last one
of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? What's been going on in your life?
I've been very busy and very tired, and I don't see an end to it.
Oh man. So you took off this whole past week, right? Or was it the week before that?
No, it was this past week. Yeah.
This past week. Okay. It's always a nice thing to just be able to take a week off. But it sounds like, from what you've told me off mic, is that it really wasn't a break.
No, well, I intended to take the week off to get ready for this big family Christmas party. Like, I'll make decorations. I have to hot glue all these centerpieces. I was like, I'm going to make a charcuterie board. I'm going to do all those cutout sugar cookies with the royal icing all filled in, which I knew would be time consuming. I'm like, I got the time to burn. I'll take a week. And like, I spent an entire day shopping, an entire day baking, an entire day decorating. I just had so many other tasks added on to me. Like, my mom asked for my help volunteering with something at her church. And then she's like, will you go to the store and get something for your brother for Christmas? Then my dad was like, will you go to the store and get something for your mom for Christmas? My elderly neighbors were like, will you go to the post office for us? And I kept having things added on. And like, I realized partway through, I took this whole vacation and I don't know when I'm going to find any time to relax. And I'm watching
delivery service.
Yeah, this isn't even the delivery service. That's an entire separate thing. I just got very busy, and like, I had to take all of this stuff out, all these Christmas decorations and things out for this party. And the party was yesterday, and it was successful. But then I have to put everything back. That's the whole rest of my day after I'm done talking to you. I have to reassemble my apartment and put everything back where I got it from and wash all of these dishes.
Ooh, yeah, that's always no fun. We like every now and then, my roommates and I are smart enough to be like, let's just get paper plates and stuff like that, so we don't actually have to do dishes. Because we like to cook, or my roommates like to cook. I lucked out. I know I've said that a million times before, but they all like to cook and like drink alcohol and have shots and all that stuff. And they're always just like, Kyle, let's eat. Come on, join us. And I'm just like, yes, this is amazing. But I'm always just like, how can I help? What can I do? Can I chop something? They're all just like, no, just hang out, have fun. I'm like, okay, thanks. So yeah, but yeah, there are times that like after all of that, we have like a million dishes to do that we all have to like chip in and help with, and then there's times we're just like, we don't want to do that. It's no fun. So, well, at least you planned your party out successfully. You had your
I did. Yeah,
sounds like it was a blast.
It was good. I was very anxious because I have a cousin who came in from Colorado. Like, I haven't seen him since our grandma died in 2013. So he shows up there with his brand new wife, hardly anybody has met. And I should have been happy. And eventually I was. But when they came in, I'm like, we're not done yet. Nothing is organized. I like waved at them like, I have to organize every table. We have to separate. These are craft supplies for kids. Versus this is just like ribbon and tape we brought in to decorate the venue that we're in. I don't think I sat down for like 3 hours.
Man. Wow. So you guys had like an actual venue for your party too. This wasn't at like your parents' house.
No, there's too many of us. There's a lot of us. So we had to rent like a community clubhouse in my aunt's neighborhood, which was a beautiful building. And it had this it was enough space for everybody, enough tables and chairs. It had the second floor like loft space. There wasn't anything in there, But like all little kids could run up there and run around and like look over the railing and wave at you. So I had to do that several times.
Yes, hello. I see you up there again.
No, it doesn't run out. No, if your niece waves at you from an upper floor, it's a delight. You make sure you stand there and you watch. You have to be ready when she runs up there and she waves at you.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I did not really have much of a party this weekend. I got my COVID booster shot on Friday at like 12:30. And I by like 5-ish, I was starting to not feel great. And was just like, ooh, I can tell I'm not like, by time we were supposed to record the captain's log on Friday night, I was just like I was starting to get the symptoms, but I knew it was still gonna get worse, and it was still just like, I don't want to do anything.
I understand.
It didn't fully hit me till like midnight is like when it started to like be like, all right, this is not fun. But it knocked me on my ass a little more than I was expecting. It was nowhere near as bad as my second shot, but it was bad enough that I was just like, I'm just going to be a zombie in my room and not do a thing there. My whole body just hurt. It was stiff, and I had chills, and it was not fun. It was rough. I spent it just in bed.
Wow, I got my booster on Tuesday night and I felt okay. Or I ignored it and instead I got up and made 4 dozen cookies anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I could have gotten up to do stuff if I really needed to, but it was enough where it was just like, my whole body just hurts, and I just don't. I can't. It's like, you know that feeling in a headache when it's that like pounding, but it's that like slow pulse.
Oh
of that. It was that, but my entire body. Of just like, I don't want to do that, all that stuff. Sam is in the chat. Hello, Sam.
Sam's here. Sam found us.
Yeah. Sam, it says she's for Farming Sim 2022. I don't want to people. Kyle 2021. I haven't got my booster shot yet. Yeah, Sam is here hanging out with us. Sam, hi, how are you? This is going to be the final episode of the Captain's Log for 2021. So this is the last one of the year, and then we will be back in 2022.
Yeah.
There you go. Melissa, looking ahead to 2022, what brand new cyberpunk invention will we get?
Maybe this is the year you finally get that robot arm.
Yes. I'm hoping one day. I mean, we recorded the review show earlier, and the arm on my Gundam model that I built last night, or finished last night, its arm just like popped off in the middle of the show, and we were just like, wait, did that just happen?
It just dropped its sword. It was simple. That means it gives its arm to you. Your time to take up the arm.
Indeed. I will have a fully functioning robot arm in 2022. It's going to be grand. What
if it doesn't happen that fast and you don't have a fully functioning robot arm, but it's like, we started with one finger. What do you want? Thumb? You've got Cyberthumb.
I challenge you to thumb wrestling.
We're going to move on to Pointer Finger 2023. We're releasing this in stages. You're part of the beta. Beta is a single finger.
Oh, man. I guess this is not as cyberpunk as you went, but I've always I'm interested in those like Apple watches or just like a smart watch in general. But I've never worn a watch in my life. And the few times that I have, I've never really liked it. Like, I felt like they were clunky and they just, like, all they did was tell time. And we also, like, We also
You're
grew up.
not wrong.
That's all they did.
I want you to leave a product
So
review
disappointed.
under a watch
All they
that
do
just
is
says,
tell
I
time."
feel like all it does is tell time.
But like
Five out of 10 stars. Completely neutral.
6 out of 10. This one had a timer. But like I'm interested. I feel like 2022 might be the year that I finally get a smart watch.
Yeah.
And just like join the club on that. But even then, I don't know. Like I'm still skeptical, but I want one. But I don't want one. Because I still don't know if they have what I want, which even then I don't know exactly what I want out of a smart watch, but
sure.
Still. That's my...
You wanted to do everything that Junie's watch does in Spy Kids too.
Sure, yeah. All that mixed with the like Buzz Lightyear Star Command arm thing here.
You got a laser.
I want it all. Yeah.
Just walk into Best Buy like, where's your laser model of the Apple Watch, please? In case I encounter an enemy.
Does this one have a laser?
You should ask that when you buy anything. Does this blender have a laser? Does it have laser setting?
That'd be great. Sam says the Apple Watch is just okay in comparison to the Pebble was so good until they sold to Fitbit and destroyed the potential the product had. I'm not familiar with the Pebble. I haven't heard of that one. I know what a Fitbit is, but like, yes, I don't know.
I guess that's why Pebble had to sell out. Sam was very big into the Pebble watch, but thinking back, yeah, I don't remember anybody but Sam mentioning the Pebble watch to me.
Interesting. I like, based on the name, I feel like it's really small. And instead of a digital watch, it's just the like, it's a sundial, but it's just like, because
it's a Fred Flintstone watch.
Right. Yeah. It's just a little pebble. I have no idea what they actually are. But, Sam also says, maybe this is the year that blockchain collapses. While I highly doubt that, I hope so. God, please. All the video game publishers now are like, blockchain, NFTs, we're bringing NFTs into gaming. And everyone's just like, please, no, this is stupid. No one likes these. But yeah, who knows? The Pebble was one of Kickstarter's biggest successes. Interesting. There you go. Oh, but yeah, smartwatch. Maybe this is the year that I finally cave and get myself a smartwatch.
Yeah, it feels like you should have one.
We just grew up in the age where we had cell phones. So like I feel like I have my phone. Like it does much more than just tell time. Like I can call people, I can go on Twitter or who knows what. Yeah.
Few things you need to do.
Unfortunately, no laser.
Yeah,
but
wow.
One day, maybe.
Yeah, who will make us our first laser phone? I just feel like aesthetically, Kyle, you should have a computer grafted to every different part of your body.
That'd be nice, right? It's like I have my computer leg, my computer arm, my computer ear. Oh, man. So end of the year stuff. End of the year.
Yes.
Melissa, last year around this time, we looked at our Spotify Wrapped stuff. Do you want to take a look at our Spotify Wrapped stuff for this year?
Yeah. I think these are fun. And they gave some interesting new facets to this wrap up this year. They described to me my audio aura, which is new. And I don't know how they calculated it. They gave me no statistics on it. They cited no sources. They just said, your audio aura, your top music moods are spooky and kindness.
Oh, interesting.
Which does feel accurate. But I don't know what I did to get it that. What kind music was I listening to?
So I mentioned last year when we did this that my Spotify Wrapped is kind of skewed.
Yeah.
It never really gives me the results that I want because I have a playlist that I listen to when I sleep to like help me fall asleep. It's really calming, relaxing music or hip hop beats or instrumentals that like I play at like a really low volume, so it's enough that I can like listen to it and focus on it, and it kind of acts more as white noise. But then it just plays all the time while I'm sleeping, and I don't have to like restart the playlist until like the next week because it's huge. It's super long. And I just put it on shuffle. So but my like top listened to song was I think almost the same one from last year, just because it's in that playlist and it played like 57 times and all that stuff. So it's just like, well, I couldn't even tell you what song that actually is. It's just an instrumental. Like I don't know what it is. So it's kind of skewed. Um, but that being said, I did have some interesting facts on mine here. Let me pull my images back up here. So my audio aura was mellow and happy.
Oh,
And I don't know if you guys can see it. It's
very
not
green.
really shining. Yeah, it's like a green. There's like a little bit of like a light purple in there or some. But yeah, it's just like light, like Easter Kelly green.
Yeah, very Easter colors.
Yeah. So that's my audio aura. But it also said that I spent 122,430 minutes listening to music, which is more than. All right, actually, let me have you guess on this.
Okay.
What percentage of other listeners in the United States, like how much more did I listen to
Yours was
music?
like in the 120,000s.
Yes.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah,
So mine was at
122,000.
about 32,000, and it said I got listened to more than 84% of other
Oh,
people.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're at 122,000, you're in like the top 3%. Probably even higher. Are you in the one? If you listen to it when you sleep every night, it seems like maybe you sleep a lot or you sleep more than I do. Are you in the top 1%? Are you all the way up there, Kyle?
I am in the top 1%.
Wow.
That's more than
Musically elite.
99% of other listeners in the United States. Wow. That's I mean I'm sure still me being in that 1% is still there's a lot of people in that, but still that's kind of wild though. More than most of the country. You go. What else did I have? So my top genre was alternative hip hop. My top artist was Stream Beats by Harris Heller. He's the one that makes all of the like copyright free music that we do on our like stream starting soon, or that we use in the background of our short videos that we put on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff like that. He's the one that makes all of that stuff, which I also have a bunch of in my like sleep playlist. So it like it's just constantly cycling through all of that, and he basically puts out like 2 albums a month of like 30 songs each, of multiple different genres and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a lot of his. I think if I'm not mistaken, I tweeted at him, if I can find this. Doom. Come on, where is it? It shouldn't be back that far. Oh, here we go. So for Stream Beats by Harris Heller, I was in the top 0.5% of listeners this year, and I tweeted him and I was like, hey, I think I basically pay your bills like by how much I listen to all of that stuff.
Wow.
And then I looked at the official like Stream Beats Twitter account because they started to post about this stuff to look if like they started thinking like who is in our like top 10%, and I think I saw like a handful of other people in the top 5% or higher. Like I saw someone in the like top like point like 0.001%. I was just like, good God.
Ooh, it gets that specific?
Yeah.
Wow. Last year I got in the top 0.05% for Nick Cave, I think. And this year it reverted back to Hosier as my number one. I think it was him for 2018 and 2019. I'm in the top 1% of Hosier.
We go. Good stuff. Sam says, I'm just gonna assume planet punching and stupid is her audio aura. Planet punching. Sam, what are you listening to that's planet punching? I want to punch a planet.
Sam's top audio aura is putting a dog in a toque and putting a cat in a toque. My top songs this year were It's Called Freefall by Rainbow Kitten Surprise, Gratitude by Oingo Boingo, Wolf Like Me by TV on the Radio, 1985 by Wings, and Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. And Spotify also made like a if your life was a movie, these songs would play in these scenes. And it gave me Everybody Wants to Rule the World for the song playing as you proclaim your love in the rain, which is a real supervillain life for me.
Yeah. Let's see here. I think it. Oops, sound is on. I don't want sound. Let's see here. Whoops, go back. And action. If 2021 was a movie and you were the main character, what's a movie without a soundtrack? All right, come on, get to the opening credits theme would be Smoke and Mirrors by Toki Monster, which I think is the one that I had my like most listened to. The song that played as you proclaim your love in the rain is But Not For Me by Chet Baker, which is hilarious.
Ooh.
The song you played as you face off against your rival dance crew is Mixer by Amber Mark. Good.
Oh my God, Kyle, that's song. So accurate. Have you had a rival dance crew in your life?
Not really.
Maybe you still will. Maybe there's still time.
Maybe.
For you to have a dance crew and have there to be a separate dance crew with which you are rivals.
But the But Not For Me is fucking hilarious because the song is all about like everyone's falling in love and all that stuff, but not me. All that.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't read any lyrics on these.
Pouring the rain and just like, well, I guess they don't love me back.
Oh, Crad.
Wild. Yeah, so that's basically my Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, my top artists this year were, as mentioned earlier, Hosier, MSMR, or maybe you pronounce this band's name Mister. I don't know. I've never heard anybody say it.
I was going to say Mesmer.
There's a space. It's MS space MR.
Okay.
It's a mystery. One of these days I will look them up. Like I'll search them on YouTube and I'll find them being introduced on a late night show or something. I gotta know.
Some like live concert where they're like, we are something.
And then the Killers, and then Paul Hazlinger, composer of the score to *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Ah, okay, interesting.
I listened to that score a lot this year. It's good work music. There's a Spotify didn't classify it as a podcast. I think it's in some weird gray area. It's a show called Flow State, where this guy just makes like playlists of electronic music to focus to, and he talks to you for a couple minutes, like at the beginning, at the halfway point, and then at the end. And so maybe it's not, it's like he makes playlists and then puts him talking in it. I don't know. I thought it was classified as a podcast until Spotify gave me my podcast results at the end of the year and it wasn't there. So who knows? But it's called Flow State. It's very helpful. And it really helped me focus on work a lot. The guy's voice is very calming. And he just tells you about, I don't know, productivity tips and, work philosophy and things like that. But he did an episode, it's like the entire episode is the Halt and Catch Fire score. And instead of me talking, I'm just going to play you a couple minutes of dialogue from the show. Okay, have fun. Here's Lee Pace.
That's great.
So that's another reason why I listen to that a lot. And then rounding out the top 5, of course, he's back. My boy Nick Cave.
Go. Oh, good stuff. Spotify Wrapped. They're it's an interesting thing. I like stuff like that they do it. I know there was some people online basically being like, it's just free advertising and marketing for Spotify when you spread this stuff, and then everyone else was like, yeah, but it's fun. Like, who fucking cares? Like, it's fun to see like my
it's
most
fun to
listened to song. Yeah,
it saves me from having to calculate that myself. Like, I make a playlist. I started this last year. I make a playlist of my top YouTube videos from the year. And YouTube offers no similar service to the Spotify Wrapped. I had to do all of this myself. I had to go through my entire year's history. Be like, what did I watch this year that I really enjoyed?
Do you have like what was your like couple favorite things?
Oh, I think my most because like YouTube videos are the sort of thing where I watch the same one very many times. But there's a channel called Video City Limits that does animations of podcast audio, like quick little like a minute, 2-minute animations. And they did one for a bit from the Doughboys podcast. That is one of the co-hosts, Mike Mitchell, saying that when he was a kid, he saw Child's Play, the movie with Chucky. And it freaked him out so much that it, like he's a little kid lying in bed at night and he's got a Mickey Mouse doll in bed with him. And he said he thought the doll touched his arm. He thought the doll was haunted. So this bit got animated. It's so funny. I've watched it like 6 times this year. Every other month I'm like, I gotta see that doll reach for Mitch again.
That's what Rooster Teeth does for a lot of their podcasts. They do
great
animated shorts and stuff like that. And there's one I remember when they talked about it on whatever podcast it was on. I can't remember if it was a Rooster Teeth podcast or if it was Achievement Hunter, which is a spinoff of Rooster Teeth. But it's Jeff, who's one of the founders of Rooster Teeth, about that like one of his times in I guess in Vegas or like somewhere, he's basically seeing this magic show. It's a mentalist, and he goes to this show, and the guy like will do his trick, and Jeff is he himself is not overreacting. He's like genuinely into this show and excited. But when he sees the magic and stuff, he's just like, what? No! And just like screaming, like, how? And like everyone else is just like, what is up with this guy in the audience that is like like completely in and like baffled by this magic? It's good. It's really funny.
That's when I'll know that we have truly arrived, when anybody tries to animate us.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. Or when we make it big enough that we can hire an animator and just like, you're on staff. And
yeah, Video City Limits, like this channel just animates a lot of clips they find funny, I guess. There's a lot from Comedy Bang Bang, but this Doughboys one was commissioned.
That's cool.
The Doughboys paid this channel to animate this bit. Or maybe they're like, pick any bit. And this channel was like, the Mickey Mouse doll.
There we
Maliciously reaching out for Mitch in the night.
That's great. That's great. Well, speaking of some of your favorites and stuff, I was asking you what some of your favorite YouTube stuff was. Something we also did last year was look back at some of the favorite media and stuff that we consumed this past year. So let's start with you, Melissa. What are I mean, let me clarify with this. It does not have to be new for 2021. Is that correct? It's just this is a show that I watched for the first time this year, but it came out in the early 2000s. That would still be okay, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I remembered us doing last year. So I've been keeping track. I started this last year. I've been keeping track of all of the movies that I've watched, all the TV shows that I've watched, and all the comic books that I read. So when we get back in 2022, I will report on like how many movies I watched, how many television shows I watched, how many episodes of shows I watched, and roughly about like how long, like in hours that was, and how many comic books I've read, stuff like that. So I have a whole list, but I went through my list and like marked all the ones that was like, I liked this one or that one was good. So let's start with you though. What were some of your favorites? Do you want to start with the category first of like movies or? I do have a movie I need to talk about. I watched this in October and I didn't talk about it all because I'm like, I have to save this for the end of the year because this is truly one of my best ofs. And later I do have a lot more YouTube to talk about, but I'm aware that this is a category that I bring to the table and you often do not. So let me know whenever you want me to talk to you for 20 straight minutes, okay? Okay. This year, I watched a movie called Vivarium. Have you heard of this? I think so. It stars, what's his name? Right? Jesse Eisenberg. Guy, yes, I was about to say him. You know, the guy. The actor. The guy. Yeah, so I've heard of it, but that's all that I know. I first came across this in the YouTube recommendations for movies you can buy or rent on YouTube. Sure. It somehow got stuck on a kick of giving me a lot of Jesse Eisenberg movies. I don't know what I did, but it was like, do you want Vivarium? Do you want to watch American Ultra? Do you want to watch Resistance? Constantly I had ads for Resistance, which is a movie where I think he plays Marcel Marceau, the mime, in World War II, where he's working with a Boy Scout troop to try and like save Holocaust refugees and get them across the border to somewhere safe. This sounds so wild as I'm saying it out loud. I don't know if that's the correct summary of this movie. It looked sad. World War II movies make me sad, so I knew I wasn't going to click on it, but YouTube kept showing me Resistance over and over again. And then one day I go over to my dad's, and he's like, he bought a movie off of some site. I don't know if it was Amazon or what, but like he ordered a physical DVD of a movie he likes. And he's like, I got that movie in the package, but then they threw in this other movie I didn't order. And he holds up Resistance. So the universe is dead set on at least one Wilkinson watching this Jesse Eisenberg World War II movie. But Vivarium. Okay. This is a movie. Vivarium. It stars Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. I think it came out maybe early 2020. I don't know. It's a recent film. Yeah. And it's a very small film. It is. The two of them are a couple. They are looking for a new place to live. They go to the office of this new housing development to take a tour of the development and see if they like it. And the tour guide gives them weird vibes. Not in like
this man's a creep. This man's a serial killer. But like, is this man an alien? Like, he acts very unnaturally.
Okay.
He takes them to, like they get in their car and they follow him in his car to this housing development where all of the houses are exactly the same. And the entire thing looks like storybook pristine and just repeating. It looks like they made one house and one lawn and then looped it, like copy paste over and over again for blocks. And they're looking around and they're like, this is weird. This isn't for us. Like, we don't want to live here. And they lose sight of the tour guide and they leave the house. They walk out to like where their cars are parked in the driveway and he's gone. He's abandoned them. They're like, weird, whatever. Okay. So they get in their car to try and leave and they can't leave. And no matter how far they drive, they just keep looping back around to the house they toured. They're stuck there. The entire movie is Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots trapped in this like surreal copy paste suburbia with nobody
weird.
Else. They're there alone.
Interesting. It's supposed to be scary, or is it more of like a drama of just like these two characters dealing with this?
Yeah. It's just it's a thriller. I'd call it a thriller. It's kind of Twilight Zone-y. It's very small, very chaotic. It's the two of them, and I will say, this place is an absolute mystery to them. They barely find out anything else about what's going on. But on their driveway, they find a large cardboard box, and inside the box is a baby. And there's like a little note on the box that says, raise the baby and you get to live. And then the baby like grows up super fast, is growing up to look exactly like the tour guide, and talks in an unnatural like man's voice for being a 10-year-old.
Weird.
So they have to raise this like weird, again, I say alien. We don't know if it's literally alien, but alien as an adjective and not as a noun. And they live the exact same life day after day after day with no clue how they could ever try and get out of there. Because they can't drive out. They can't run away.
So you don't have to spoil the ending for me here, but is there a kind of resolution, or does it just be like, and they lived on and on and on in this thing? Who knows?
No, there is a resolution. I like the ending of this movie quite a bit.
Weird.
It's so weird. I took a gamble on this. I knew nothing because the synopsis was just like, Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, they go looking for a house. They find themselves in a weird suburbia. I'm like, that's enough for me. I'll check this out. I mentioned that I found it on YouTube.
How does this compare to Serenity? That weird movie that we watched there. Would this be like a good double feature? Oh,
I think maybe, but this is so weird so immediately. Like, it's not trying to hide anything. It's not trying to twist anything on you. It is out in the open about how strange it's supposed to be.
Okay. Interesting. Weird.
It's so weird. I loved it. It's one of the most inventive movies I've seen in a long time. I had no clue where anything was going to end up. Like, 15 minutes away, I had no idea what the next 15 minutes were going to be, what any of these characters were going to do. You're just watching them slowly go mad from having to live the same life over and over and over again. One point, like I said, they can't drive out. They put an SOS sign on top of the house. No planes pass by. No birds pass by. Jesse Eisenberg realizes he can try digging down, and he spends most of the movie digging. Like, he's in a hole in the ground for a lot of it. Just
him
yelling.
And Lee Pace should team up for digging holes in the backyard.
No, Scoot's out there digging a hole. This was truly the year for entertainment where man digs hole. It's one of my new favorite genres. I love man digs hole.
Next year, 2022, on the review show, we're always gonna have some week that is Man Digs Hole week on the review show. And you just pitch a bunch of movies where someone digs a hole somewhere in the movie.
I would love that to be the only trope uniting the three things I pitched to you is somebody digs a hole. It's great. Think about how many different moods and goals and journeys that could represent in fiction.
God, that's so fucking funny. Oh man.
So Vivarium is the best man digs hole movie since Holes.
Okay. Digging up holes.
Best in 20 years.
Dig it. There you go.
And I want to say, I mentioned about how I heard about this because YouTube kept recommending it to me. Mm-hmm. I did find it streaming for free on Amazon Prime, or I did not have to pay the YouTube rental fee.
Nice.
That's where Vivarium is.
How many movies do you have on your favorites list? I'm wondering if we should alternate, or do you want to just say all of yours and then I do all of mine? I have 2 or 3 others I could talk about. I mostly just came here for Vivarium. I've not heard a single other person mention this. So I'm here. Okay. I'm here to advocate for it. So I have, let's see, 6 movies. I don't need to talk about all of them, but I've just marked them as like these ones I think were my favorites of the year. But I'll talk about a couple of them. So here's all 6. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, which was out on HBO Max at the start of the year. The Mitchells versus the Machines. I thought that was fantastic.
It was fun.
The Handmaiden, which is a Korean film. One of the most bizarre, bonkers films.
That's what I'm here for.
And also,
I'm here for bonkers cinema.
But it's also one of the most erotic movies I've ever seen. Like there is pretty much some soft core porn in there, and it's just like, oh, they are not switching off of this scene. We're just gonna watch. Okay, here we go. But yeah, it was fantastic, but it was weird and bizarre, and yeah, all sorts of stuff. The White Tiger on Netflix. This is a movie about an Indian guy who's really, really poor, ends up getting a job as a driver for someone who's really rich, and then like works his way up, like in the like chain of command ish. That's not right, but just ends up becoming rich himself. And holy moly, it's a great movie. It's so good. It's a mystery, kind of. It's a thriller, kind of. It's fascinating. This whole thing. It's really good. I cannot recommend it enough.
Is it set in India? Okay. Yes. I know perhaps that was where he was from and this took place somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's all set in
nice.
In India. And yeah, it's just like it's not really a twist per se, but it is more of a reveal of like they show you like where he's at like in modern day times, and I think the story kind of kicks off because like the dictator of China is coming to visit the country, or maybe it's North Korea, but he ends up like starting to write in email to him to be like, hey, I want to be your personal driver when you come to our country. Here's why you should choose me. And he tells his whole life story, and it's about like how he rose to power and all of this stuff. But yeah, it is this like kind of mystery crime thing that goes on here, and it's fascinating. It's really good. So highly recommend The White Tiger, which is available on Netflix. Okay. You can go check it out there. I also marked down Shang-Chi because I really loved that one. That one I think was fantastic, and I loved Looper. when we watched that. We did that
Good.
for
I'm
Shame
glad.
Timber of like, I've never seen this one. I'm ashamed. I know that I would like this, but I haven't seen it yet. And we finally
then
did.
you
And I was
did.
just like, yes, it's so good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, White Tiger, I think, was one of my favorites. The Handmaiden is, if you liked Parasite, the Korean movie, go watch this. This is just as strange and bizarre, and like the twists in this are crazy. It's a movie that plays out, I think, in like 3 parts, and you see like most of the events from one perspective in this first part, and then in part 2 it kind of switches, and then part 3 is something completely different. And it's just the way, like, you think you know what's happening here, and then you don't the next minute, and you're just like, what is going on? This is wild, it is bizarre, and it's tense because it's so slow. Like, the
Okay.
movie just takes its sweet time. It's really long too. I think it was like 3.5 hours ish.
Ooh.
But it takes its time. It's real slow, and at first you're not sure what's happening, and then you kind of understand, okay, something is going on here. They're planning something. They're getting ready to do something, and then by the end of that first segment, you're like, whoa, wait, what? Something just went wrong here. That's not good. And then it stops, and it goes back in time and re-shows you all those events in a new perspective, and you're just like, oh my God, I didn't know any of this was happening. What in the world is going on here? And it just completely, you're just like, this is not what I just saw. And then part 3 does that again. Well, you don't go all the way back and watch all this stuff, but it's still, it like completely changes the way you think about all of the stuff you just saw. And you're just like, how do they keep doing this? What is going on? So highly recommend that one. It is wild.
Good.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I remember you talking about the Handmaiden and the White Tiger. I'm glad they circle back around and they wind up at the top of your list at the end of the year.
They were good. I liked them a lot. I don't think Handmaiden is new. I think that one came out in like 2018-ish, I think. But the White Tiger is fairly new. If not this year, it was last year, but I think it was this year. So
I've got a couple other favorite movies I'd like to run through. Recently in the Captain's Log, I talked about how I watched The Happening, and it wasn't very good except for the part about the hot dogs. But I also watched M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, which is a movie from a handful of years ago I hadn't worked my way around to yet.
I don't think I'm
The Visit's
familiar
very
with that
good.
one.
This is a movie, I think this was kind of his comeback movie. He did it like after The Happening and Last Airbender and After Earth. This was the movie that kind of set him back up on his feet. Okay. It is a movie about these young kids who are going to spend the week with their grandparents who they've never met. You know, their mom had a falling out with her parents. She left when she was young. Then she had these kids. They've never met the grandparents, but they reached out. They talked to the mom and they said, we really do want to meet our grandkids. And the mom's like, okay, I'm recently divorced. There's like a new guy I'm seeing. We want to go out and like take a vacation together. You can have the kids for the week. And, you know, maybe if the kids have a good time, maybe I can reach back out and we can reconnect, you know, parent and child. And the whole movie is from the camera of the girl who's like 13. The kids are like, I don't know, 13, 10, something like that, who's an aspiring filmmaker. So she wants to make a documentary about the experience of going to visit these grandparents they've never met before and try and talk to her grandparents about the falling out they had with her mom. And she's hoping to get an apology from the grandparents to the mom that she can take home and show the mom and help heal that relationship. and the kids find that the grandparents act very bizarrely and erratically. The grandpa's like, oh, it's, we have mental conditions. We sort of act strange, like after the sun goes down. It's a real condition. We sort of lose our sense of things a little bit. And the kid's like, oh, okay, we can work with that. And then things just escalate and they get worse and they get scarier. And they realize they truly know nothing about their grandparents or the situation they've landed themselves in.
Interesting. The Visit.
I recommend it. It's a good little thriller. It's one of M. Night Shyamalan's. It's a good example of what he does. It's shot well.
Okay.
It's tense. It's eerie, but also has a lot of odd humor moments in it. He picks very interesting times to lighten the mood and very strange ways to lighten the mood.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
I recommend The Visit. Earlier this year, I watched Broadcast News, which is a movie from the 80s about broadcast news. You're working in big TV news, and it's a love triangle. Yeah, it's a love triangle between three top reporters and news producers. It's just very smartly written. You can tell it's so well researched and so much detail went into everything. I was really impressed by it. And I bought it on Criterion Collection. I've been collecting more movies recently. I wanted at least one Criterion to put in my collection. And that was a movie that, even though I'd only seen it once just earlier this year, I thought, I want to own this. I really want to see the special features on this one.
Cool.
I can tell there's a lot of depth behind it.
Go.
Yeah, I haven't cracked into it yet, but I look forward to it.
Sam says to tell you that she edited a Spotify audio aura to be cat dog in a toke and to check Twitter after the show.
Excellent. Good. Thank you for the update, Sam. I watched Magnolia this year, which was a movie I remember being a big deal when I was a kid.
I remember that name, but I don't know what it is.
It's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie from the late 90s, 98, 99, something like that. And all I knew about it was that it had that Amy Mann song, and it was a lot of people talking on the phone. And at one point you could hear Paul F. Tompkins, even though you couldn't see him, because those scenes were cut out.
Interesting.
It's just the lives of maybe a dozen people in the Los Angeles area in the late 90s across like a day or two in their lives, and just how there are small crossovers and small parallels, and a character will leave one scene and run into another scene, and or like one character will be watching another character on TV. It's a rather long movie. That's what made me think of it. And you don't really know what it's building towards until right at the end. And this is one of the wildest climaxes I've ever seen. This is truly, when you start the movie, you could never guess what's going to happen at the end is going to happen at the end.
Magnolia. Okay. Interesting. That stuff.
You're having a pretty normal time for like 2.5 hours, and then one bananas thing happens.
Stuff like that is really interesting to me. Like I think back to when we I think it was like Flavor. No, I don't think it was Flavors of Youth. Was that maybe it was? I don't remember. It was one of those like anthologies that we watched. I think like some of the characters like crossed over into like it was something like that. But I like when they do things like that. Or like I haven't watched Sense8 yet, but I have a feeling that it's similar to that, right? Where there's all these different characters that may or may not be aware of one another, but maybe they cross over, or as this person and like leaves the scene, someone else walks in the scene, and then you start following them to somewhere else, and it just stuff like that is neat. Durururura is one of my favorite animes that does something like that, where you get all of these like things happening around the city, and you're switching back and forth between them, and just as the show continues, they all kind of culminate together into this one big thing, and you're just like, I don't know how all of these like separate stories got mixed in to one, but they did. So that's neat. That's cool.
I recommend checking it out. It was worth it. I was nice to understand now why this movie was a big deal when I was like 9 years old.
I got you.
And I did that just a couple nights ago with another movie. I had one free night this week. It was like, it's movie night. I was going to put on a movie and relax. Whenever I do want a movie, I always start at HBO Max because I just like their visual layout the best. Netflix stresses me out because if you hover over something for half a second, it starts like playing at you, and it's HBO Max. It's a more calm browsing experience, and I wound up watching the movie Frida, the biography of Frida Kahlo.
Okay, yeah,
truly excellent. I had a great time.
Good stuff.
I didn't know anything about her life, anything at all. All I knew was that the movie starred Salma Hayek, and she was nominated for an Oscar, and Alfred Molina played her husband. Which is why I picked it. I'm like getting ready for Spider-Man. I'm like, something else with a Spider-Man guy in it. Here I go. This will help tide me over. Just watch Alfred Molina do something else for 2 hours, even though he only has 4 limbs and not 8. It's directed by Julie Taymor, which I was not aware of. That was another thing that brought me in. Like, I am aware of her theatrical work. She directed Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, another Spider-Man connection.
Okay, there you go. I was gonna say, like, I don't know who this person is, but Melissa, you go for it.
She designed the theatrical, like the Broadway version of The Lion King. All those puppets. That's her. Yeah, she directed Across the Universe. She's got a good track record.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know she directed this, and this movie is beautiful. It's one of the most visually inventive movies I've seen in a while. There's a shot where it's a painting of Frida Kahlo and her husband, and it just slowly morphs into actual Salma Hayek and Alfred Molina. And like, I rewound it. Like, I have to watch this again. I don't know where the seam was. I don't know when they stopped being a painting and they started being real people. And for a movie made in like 2002, that's great. I'm amazed that they did that at that time. There's a lot of beautiful, like surreal, dreamy sequences in it. Like, she gets injured, and when she's like in and out of consciousness at the hospital, everybody is represented as a stop motion Day of the Dead skeleton.
Okay.
And it's with this like real sort of blurry, smeared, like dark cinematography. Like, that's all that her senses are giving her when she's laying there injured. It's a real interesting illustration of the experience she was going through. Beautiful stuff in there. Great performances. Fun to learn. Didn't know anything about Frida Kahlo except for the eyebrow.
Oh, good stuff.
These are movies.
Are we done with movies? Should we move on to TV shows in a sec here? If you have stuff you want to mention?
Sure.
Yeah, let's take a quick break for housekeeping, and then we will come back with the TV shows and stuff that we liked. But yeah, we will be right back. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make, and yes, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and we'd love it if you would check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in the Whatnauts, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnauts, patreon.com/The Whatnauts is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/the Whatnauts, and we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you want to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnauts.com/store to pick up some merch today. And we are back. A big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters, especially those at the $5 tier. So thank you to Sam, who has been here in the chat with us. Thanks for hanging out. We love you a lot. We appreciate you. Cool things that we've been doing here at the Whatnauts. We just finished recording our final episode of the review show for this year as well. And the last ones of the year, we did holiday movies. We did Love Hard on Netflix and 8-Bit Christmas on HBO Max. So Love Hard is already up, and then the 8-Bit Christmas one will go up like a day or two after this goes live. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see. We are still doing our reactions to Hawkeye. That is almost wrapped up. I'm excited to see how that show ends. I think there's going to be some big, exciting reveals happening in this very soon, I think. And of course, we will be doing our reactions to Spider-Man No Way Home very soon once that movie comes out. I'm excited for that. On Crossplay, we just did our 100th episode celebration. We had a good time. We got to party and celebrate and have some guests on the show. It was great. So go check that out as well. That's about it for housekeeping. So, TV shows. What have been some of your favorite TV shows that you watched in 2021, Melissa?
I don't know if I can name anything. Well, I think the only show that I really spent a lot of quality time with that wasn't review show entertainment was Infinity Train. So I was just referencing earlier because it's one of Sam's favorites.
Yeah.
Watched all of Infinity Train this year. It's a truly unique show. I love the premise that you go on an infinite train. Yeah. You know, if you're going through a problem in your life, you get on the train, you have a number on your hand. The better of a person you become, the more you work through your problems, your number goes down. When you get down to 0, you can leave the train. And as you move forward, you go through car after car, and every car is its own different little world. It's a story so rich in lore. It's very imaginative.
It's inventive, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I watched it this year, too. It's a good show.
Yeah, and the first 3 seasons kind of continue one after each other, but like it restarts with a new protagonist, and the 4th season's like a complete jump back to several years before, so it's kind of on its own. I like that there is continuity there, but it shakes things up every season. You can be ready for a whole new cast of characters. You can find a new favorite, so it's a pseudo anthology in a way I really like.
Yeah, good stuff.
But my favorite show this year, which we covered in detail on the review show, was *Halt and Catch Fire*. I think that's worked its way very deep in my heart, and it'll remain there for a long time. I really loved *Halt and Catch Fire*. It's such a beautiful character piece. It's just down to earth. It's in our real world. It's about real things. There's nothing fantastical about it. It doesn't have mythology. It doesn't have action. It doesn't have thrills. It's just like 5 people and some computers. That's what the show is. But it manages to do so much. It's so emotionally rich and funny and charming and strange.
Yeah, that was a good show. I'm glad we watched that one and covered it. Because it was one of those ones that was like, it's on my list. I remember it looked interesting when it first like started and they were marketing it and stuff like that. But I had just never got around to it. And it was never like so high up on my priority list that it like I probably wasn't going to get to that show anytime soon. on my own, but we watched it and I was just like, ah, I'm glad we did because this is so good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's up there
But
for sure.
that's one of my favorite utilizations of the review show, or at least an approach I try to take with it. Like, I've heard about this thing. I haven't made time for it in my life yet. Now I have a reason to. I can make it podcast content. I can stop and say, remember that thing you heard something about in 2014? We're watching that now.
There you go. Sam has a note on Infinity Train. Book 5 was supposed to be about Amalia's take over of the train, which was implied throughout book 4. So book 5 absolutely would have had cameos of the boys, and I'm mad it isn't happening. Yeah. So that was a good show, though.
Mm-hmm.
Good show indeed. Let's see what I got on my list here.
You spent a lot of time this year with The Sopranos. What else happened?
I did. That didn't make it on my favorites. Though, because I ended up walking away from that one being like, well, it's not really what I wanted from a mafia show, but I can recognize why it's good. I have about 7 shows that I marked as ones that I liked here.
When did you have time to watch 7 TV shows?
Melissa, I watched a lot more than that. I have my whole list here of TV shows.
Too many.
That goes on and on.
I'm sure some of them are review show picks. I put a lot of love towards *Halt and Catch Fire*. I got to mention *The Leftovers* too. Also, what truly bananas entertainment. I had no idea when I went into it that *The Leftovers* was going to be that weird. Wild. And I'm so happy it was.
So here's the list. I'll read off the list of all of the stuff that I thought was my favorite. Invincible season 1.
Oh yeah.
Amazon. I thought that was fantastic. Next up is Kentaro the Sweet Tooth Salaryman.
Oh yes,
I loved that show. That was it was genius. So
truly
good.
Nothing like Kentaro.
After that is The Expanse. I binged seasons 1 through 5 in like a 2 to 3 week period. I was like, this is so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, you watched it so fast. I think you only talked about it like once. Whereas The Sopranos, which you didn't like as much, it took so long I had to keep hearing about it, so it looms larger in my mind.
God, The Expanse is so good. It is one of the best sci-fi TV shows, period. It is right now the best sci-fi show out there. The 6th and final season actually just got started this past Friday night. They released the premiere of that, and that's going to be running through most of January with that stuff. So I'm excited to watch all of that soon here. I've not started it yet, but I'm like, it's back. I can watch more of it. But yeah, that I cannot recommend that show enough. It is great stuff. Then up next is Banana Fish, which is an anime that I had on my list for a while. I wanted to read the manga first, but I was just going down my list of like, okay, I watched all the stuff in Netflix. Okay, I watched all the stuff in Hulu, and then I got to Amazon, which is where you can watch this, and that was on there, and I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll go ahead and watch it, and I did, and holy cow, that anime made me cry. It is so good. It's a crime show about gangs in, I think they're in Philly, or something like that. And it's but like at its heart, it revolves around this relationship between one of the gang leaders and this kid who's like a Japanese exchange student,
Okay.
and it's basically a gay romance story, but it's also like never explicitly stated that like they're boyfriend and girlfriend, they're both friends, but it's one of those ones of it's like you know that's what the show was going for, and by the end I was bawling, I was in tears, I was just like, this is so
Aw.
good, I'm so sad. It's a very sad show, I will
Oh.
say, but it is so good. um yeah, go watch that one. Also on Amazon Prime was a show called Undone that they did a few years back. I
Oh
think like
yeah.
2018 or 2019. Um, this is by, I don't know who it's by, but it stars Rosa Salazar, who was in Brand New Cherry Flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it also is completely rotoscoped. So
Yes.
it's like they filmed the actors doing these things, but then drew on top of it to animate it. So if you've seen like Scanner Darkly, it has that same art style. And it's an 8 episode series that is this like fantastical murder mystery, like
Ooh.
or like a psychedelic murder mystery. Because it's animated, they can do like really interesting things where characters are like transported to new scenes, or just like all sorts of stuff that like wouldn't be possible in real life. And yeah, it was creative. Like it was one of those ones that I was like, I don't think I've seen a show like this before. And
Nice.
I don't think there's really anything out there that's doing something like it. So go check that one out. Two more. Um, Blind Spotting. There was also a movie by the same name and by the same creators. And then they got the opportunity to both take that concept and also continue the story of that movie in a TV show. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I just mentioned that Undone was creative. Blind Spotting, I think, is one of the most creative TV shows I've seen, period. Like,
Nice.
there is nothing out there that has pushed the envelope in terms of like what you can do with the
Ooh.
medium of stuff. There's like it's a mix of like like actual acting, and it's not really a musical, but some of the
What?
stuff, but some of the stuff that they do and say rhymes and has like a certain beat to it and stuff like that. And it's just the way that they like visually communicate some of this stuff is fascinating. Like sometimes the background characters will be dancers. So like they might be like moving into a new apartment, but all of the movers are like popping and like doing all of this stuff as they
Wow.
like move the boxes in. It's fascinating. Like I cannot recommend this show. Just like you like this is something you need to watch just to be like, what can the medium of TV and film do that is just
Ooh.
completely unique, and Blind Spotting nails it. Great stuff.
Nice. I kept seeing ads for that and I couldn't get a handle on what it was or what it was about.
Go watch the movie first, because I liked the movie more, but I think it's because the movie was so like concentrated and like pared down to what they really wanted that concept to be, that it was just so strong. Whereas the TV show, they have more room to play and experiment with stuff. But both were fantastic, and yeah, it's hard to explain exactly because of all the different like styles and techniques they use to make it. But it is essentially a story about a black man in Oakland who, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, witnesses a murder and is framed for the murder because he's black. It's just like he just happens to be there at the wrong time. And so he's trying to prove that he didn't do it and all of this stuff. And it's about police corruption and the system and the just kind of struggles and anxieties that they go through. But the movie does kind of the same thing, where a lot of the monologues in the movie are like actual raps, but they're not rapping it like Hamilton, where there's like a whole song and dance, but it is this like really intense artistic way to portray what is going on in a creative way, and it's fascinating. So go check that one out because it's great. It's so good. And then last but not least, the last TV show that I marked was Superman and Lois, which I talked about last week here on the
you and Ignacio were both talking about it.
I was very impressed with that. I was
like, happy to hear that. Yeah.
Okay. CW. Good for you. That's a good show. So there you go. Those are all my
good to
TV
hear
shows.
about.
Yeah.
Interesting. I got to make more time for more TV shows in my life. I guess I have less time because I invest myself in YouTube so much. I've got a subscription list on YouTube that's always getting itself updated. So I'm engaged in fewer like ongoing fictional narratives, but I know a lot about lost media mysteries.
That works.
One of my favorite videos I came across this year, it's on my list. Let me find it. It's from a channel called Kid Leaves Stoop. You remember Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the opening credits for Malcolm in the Middle, where it's clips from the show, kind of edited together with like TV clips from around that age? You know, like the kids would spend a lot of their time watching TV, so you see them and you see some of the stuff they would be watching, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
And one of those clips is a man skiing down a hill on fire.
Okay.
You remember this? This video is all about
Olympics, right? Didn't that happen at the Olympic? No, this video is about where is that skier on fire from? What is that footage from? Yeah. And it took a while for people to find what seemed like it could be the origin of it, which is a video series that was like wild stunts and things like that. But the actual, but it only showed like the preparation and like maybe some of the aftermath. I say aftermath like there was a disaster. I believe the man skied safely and he was fine. It was a controlled stunt done by professionals. But it took a long time for anybody to replicate and track down where is the footage we see in the Malcolm in the Middle opening credits from. And I had no idea my whole life. Like I never thought about the skier on fire when I was not watching Malcolm in the Middle in the early 2000s. That's a cool
mystery. I didn't know it was a mystery. This is what I love to come across.
That's
another
great.
One of my favorite mysteries I've found. This is Melissa's YouTube corner. One of my favorite channels is called Whang, WHANG, exclamation mark. And this is guy, Justin Whang, who does a lot of tales from the internet. He'll like recount like gross Reddit stories or things like that, but in a very sort of matter of fact, maybe you've heard about this thing. Maybe you saw a meme from this. this is what it is. I'll tell you the full narrative. Here's the context. And he does a lot of lost media mysteries. And there's one this year that was, it's like 2008, maybe. And somebody in Finland, somewhere in Europe, I forget the exact country, but they go to a store to buy new fabric to make curtains. And they pick out this fabric that has like pop art posterized images of celebrities. And some of them you can recognize, like, oh, that's Ian Somerhalder from Lost. This is the mid 2000s. Him and Josh Holloway are both on there. Lost was hot. So some of the people you can recognize, and other ones are like, their features are kind of vague. Seems like they're just there to be an image of a celebrity, of a movie star, of a rock star, whoever. And then years later, they go on Reddit and they say, I've had this fabric for years. Would you guys help me identify who each of these people are? And they took the repeating pattern of the fabric, gave everybody a number. People were able to be identified and tied back to the specific image that this graphic designer took from and like posterized and made into this like pop art stamp. Like, okay, this is from this magazine photo shoot. This is a Getty image taken from this red carpet, whatever. The sixth celebrity that they labeled on this fabric has never been identified. They cannot figure out who it is. Wayne did a video about this.
A shirt like that.
Oh,
I had an Avengers shirt from Walmart.
That's right.
I swear I mentioned it on the podcast.
Yes, I know
it
this.
Was like, it was like a circle with like a slice of the pie was like each like slice of the pie of this circle was a different Avengers face, and I could name all of them but one. And it never made sense, and it was never enough to identify who this one character it was. It was like, well, it could be Ghost Rider, but Ghost Rider's not really an Avenger. And then if it's not him, then it could be that, but that character's already on here. But it was just this one, like, who is this one person? Weird.
Yeah. Wayne did a video about this, and then he just did a follow-up video a couple weeks ago that says, this might be a very altered photo of Brad Pitt, but we can't confirm. We have some reasons to think it might be him, but also a lot of reasons to think this isn't him, but maybe it is Brad Pitt, and we just haven't found that photo of Brad Pitt that this is exactly copied from. It is Brad Pitt. He's one of the most recognizable faces in the world. How do we not know it was him? It's such an interesting mystery to me. Another one that he covered.
That's cool.
I love it. Do you take a look at it?
Yeah,
I'll send you the link. Like a lot of these are in my 2021 favorite YouTube videos playlist I'm building. He also did a video about there used to be a store in malls called Tape World that sold tapes. And this was eventually bought out by FYE, which I believe I don't know if that's defunct or if there's just none around me anymore. I don't know if FYE still lives.
Pretty sure they're defunct, but I could be wrong.
But somebody had worked at Tape World, which then got turned into an FYE. And then I think eventually when at least this location of the FYE closed, they still had a lot of stuff left over in the back room from the original Tape World days. This video is called The Tape World Monster Mystery. This one was eventually solved. There's in the back room of this FYE, there's a lot of like old promotional things that people like thought were cool and they saved, like old posters, old cardboard cutouts or whatever, like standees to display new movies or CDs or whatever. One of them is a little like cardboard cutout of a guy, maybe a foot tall. He's like a claymation looking dude with like gray skin and a long neck, and he's got all these thumbtacks, like push pins sticking out of his head. And whoever was posting about this on Reddit or wherever the source, wherever the story originated from, they're like, I feel like this guy's just been sticking around from, years and years ago because he looks cool. And I think he does look cool. Who is he? Where is he from? What was this a part of? What was this promoting? And there was a big search like, what is, yeah. And a lot of people were like, I swear I've seen that guy. I can't put my finger on it. People were searching through like all right, what media came out during the time period where these stores were open that may have been big enough to have some sort of a promotional in-store display? What matches this visual style? And this is another video where the mystery came out and then there was a follow-up with more. And this one was like, we solved it. One of the original contenders was, does this remind anybody of the Floops Fluglies creatures from Spy Kids? And it was rolled out like, no, it's not part of Floops Fluglies. It turns out this character was from Spy Kids. Early on in the movie, you see Junie with his arms full. This is the second time today I've mentioned Spy Kids.
Spy Kids are great.
How that happened. He's got his arm full of a bunch of toys from Floops Fluglies, and some of them are characters who we see in the footage of the show within the movie. But one of them is this thumbtack guy. Seems like he was designed to be a character who would appear, you know, there next to Alan Cumming and Floops Fluglies, but and was like made into an action figure prop for Junie to carry around, but like was never got farther than that. Was made into an action figure prop and then didn't get like a full costume or a full CGI render or whatever it was for them to be a part of the movie. So we identified him, but there's still the mystery of why'd they put that guy on like a cardboard standee? You know, like you remember those like tape displays where they'd have like the boxes in there for like where the tapes would go or the DVDs, and they'd have like cardboard things sticking out of them. This guy he got included. Maybe it was a very early design of what promotional displays would look like, and they thought, yeah, let's throw a bunch of the Floop characters in there. And this guy never got to be a full Floop.
He flunked the Floops.
What I love about lost media like this is that it will like itch at the back of somebody's head. Like, I feel like I should know what that is. I feel like maybe I have heard of this. And you can dig and do all of this research and all this comparison.
Version of Moondance that I can't find anywhere.
Go posting around. Go to like Reddit, tip of my tongue. You can, or like help me find this or whatever. There's like, I'm not on Reddit, but every one of these lost media videos, it has some involvement with this case started on Reddit. It was investigated on Reddit. So I like just see screenshots of Reddit all the time. But if you put a little work into it, you may be able to find that. But the wild thing about lost media is that sometimes you just have to wait until this gets in front of the right person's eyes. Somebody knows this. And it just might, and maybe it's when it's within a week of the mystery arising that the person sees it and says, oh, I know that. That's what this is. Or maybe it'll take years for somebody to come across this and be able to identify it.
Yeah, it's wild.
Mm-hmm. This is where I spend my time. This is why I'm not watching The Expanse. I have to learn about these.
That's okay. That's okay. I have comics that I can mention.
Tell me about comics. I don't know those.
Mention those. So yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comics that I marked down here. Justice League Dark continues to be fantastic. Its solo title stopped, and DC is now doing a thing where Justice League Dark is the backup story in the Justice League book. So the books are a little bit longer. Instead of like your standard like 22 to 24 pages, it's now usually like 34, 36, right? And you might get a few pages that are Justice League Dark, and it's still just great stuff. So I've been enjoying that a lot. That's being written by Ram V. His name will come back up again here. I also want to give a shout out to Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. He's been writing Daredevil, and with as funny as Chip Zdarsky is, that guy's freaking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't expect him to write this book, and if he did, you wouldn't really expect it to be as dark and gritty as it is, but he is nailing it. like this is like street level gritty crime. Like, it's so good. And it's just like, Chip, like, I knew you were a good writer, but geez, like, I didn't know you had this in you. Oh my God, this is great.
Range is an incredible thing to see.
Yes.
When you know somebody's good at one thing and you're like, you're equally good at different thing? How?
Like, same thing, but different genre? Oh my God. Yeah, just like, it's been phenomenal. Cannot recommend his run on Daredevil enough. Next up, something we covered on the review show, The Unwritten. The Unwritten surprised me. We only read the first 2 volumes of that, but that is now on my list of like, hey, I want to go back and read, like, continue reading that someday. Because that was fantastic and very imaginative. It's one of those things that I heard good things about, but I was never super interested in necessarily checking out on my own. Unless, one day I just went through all of the comics ever on my list and somehow got there. But yeah, we read it and I was actually like, I like this a lot more than I was expecting. It was one of those kind of like fantastical mysteries. It seemed adventurous and imaginative and scary, and I was just like, this is good. I like this. So, The Unwritten. I mentioned Ram V's name would return. The best comic book that I have read so far. I haven't even finished it yet. There's only 5 issues. I've only read the first 3. I have the next 2. I'm gonna read them this week before I go see my parents. But the best book that I have read so far, I've only read 3 issues of this year, and it is incredible. It is The Many Deaths of Lila Star. The Many Deaths of Lila Star. It is beautifully written. It is incredibly poetic. The artwork is gorgeous and colorful and bizarre, and it's just it looks so neat. But it is a story basically about the Angel of Death basically being kicked out of her job, basically being fired and let go. And so now she has taken over the body of this human, and has been kind of experiencing life, and is, I think each issue is like a different decade-ish or something. But the character always dies in some way in that thing too. They fall out of a building, or they get hit by a car, or this or that. But it's meant to be this kind of narrative device to move the story along to like a new scene or a new stuff like that. But it's a look at how people deal with death and how they cope and how they celebrate it, or how they mourn, or the rituals that go along with that. It's beautiful. It's phenomenal. Go read The Many Deaths of Lila Star. I think early January is when they're collecting it into a single volume. So go check it out. And last but not least, I read the first 3 volumes of Something is Killing the Children, and we read that here on at the Whatnauts on the review show, and that's good. That's a good book. It's a very, very good book. So
looking back on the year, I don't read comics outside of what I cover for this show. Honestly, I always intend to. There's stories we've read that I been meaning to get back to on my own time. Like, I loved Black Hammer. I know there's more Black Hammer for me to read. One of these days I'll do it, because I want to go out there and buy it and like read it physically. But yeah, looking back on the year, I did like Something is Killing the Children, and I was happy to read Vision after hearing so much about the Vision.
Yeah,
that was another one I really enjoyed. That's another one I liked enough to own it. I want to put it on my bookshelf.
Yeah, They have a nice hardcover of that one that you can get. I recommend it. It's so good. It's good. But yeah, I think that's about. Unless you do you have some more that you want to mention, or is that your favorite stuff of the year?
I think that's all the YouTube nonsense I really wanted to cover. Make sure. Yeah, I talked a lot about lost media mysteries. I kept mentioning a channel called Wang. There's another channel, I think maybe it started up in like the later part of last year, called All Things Lost, that is just lost media. It uploads like every other week. Really well produced, like in-depth looks at various cases under a lot of different categories. It'll be like, here's lost video games, lost Flash media, lost albums that were never released. They did an entire episode on all of Kanye West's unreleased music. And I don't know anything about Kanye West, but that episode was fascinating. The number of projects he's started and that have never seen the light of day for whatever reason. Or anytime there's like a big topic in the news, All Things Lost will take a look at it. Like, here's all the lost media associated with Godzilla. Here's all the lost media associated with Mortal Kombat. Something like that.
Interesting.
You can find a lot of things. It's one of my favorites lost media channels. Like Wang, that, Blame It on Jorge is another big one. Blame It on Jorge did one of those hour-long plus like iceberg videos that was going down the iceberg of lost and obscure game show media. That reeled me in. That was a wild time. I go deep on this stuff. That I'm not
cool,
one of those true crime people. I kind of am, but the real mysteries that grab me are just lost media.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. Good stuff. Well, Melissa, that has been 2021.
It has been.
This is the final episode of the Captain's Log. This has been number 100.
I don't know the number.
I don't even know.
What a year it's been. Pizzas were won. Pizzas were lost.
Pizzas were lost and won, indeed. This is number 172 of the Captain's Log. I have been Kyle Springer. This has been Melissa Wilkinson. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll be back next year, of course. Still rocking. There might be some minor changes to the show that we will announce on our 6th year anniversary retrospective, which I think we are trying to record in the I think on the 20th. I think is going to be our best bet. There, the night of the 20th. But yeah, that will be coming soon. That will be out on all of our podcast feeds. So no matter what show or shows you listen to that we do here at the Whatnauts, you will be getting our retrospective. Yeah, I'm excited for this next year. I think we'll have some good things coming. But be on the lookout for all of that stuff. So there you go. Melissa, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, show where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows you feel like only you remember.
If you guys want to follow me, I'm at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. So go like, share, subscribe, whether or not we were your favorite media in 2021 or not. We just want some help spreading the word. That would mean a lot to us to help us out in that way. But yeah, this has been 2021. We will see you all next year. Bye.
Bye.